I'm Maggie. I'm a licensed clinical psychotherapist with degrees in psychology, theology, and marriage and family therapy, a national certification in dialectical behavioral therapy, and a national certification in integrative mental health. In this video, I'm not looking to diagnose anyone. I'm only willing to offer insight into situations like these. Hello. Welcome to Sunday. Did you all know that men are 3 times as likely to die by suicide than women? Most often due to unaddressed mental health struggles and issues in relationships. In this world, vulnerability is seen as weakness and not a good character trait. So we're going to talk about what impact positive affirmations play in reshaping the mental health landscape for men. So before we do that, let's say hi to some people. Who's here? I'm sure the live tribe is checking in. Adric Hapoy is first. He says it's on. That means it's going to be a good show. Thank you for being here, Adric. Scorpion Black is here. He says, what's up, Maggie? What's up, Scorpion Black? Nina is here saying hi, everybody, with the peace sign. My favorite auntie. It's not the same without her. That's why she's got to be here every time. Nick Morrison says, this is one of my favorite points of the week. Me too, Nick. Thank you for being here. Adric says, let's hear it for the dancing Maggies. And Nina agrees, our dancing Maggie. Indigo Flow is here with the flower. Thank you so much, Indigo. Snowman is here checking in. Hi, Snowman. Say hi to Jody for us. Chef Mike is here. He says, hey, everyone. Happy Sunday, y'all. I'm prepping to host the fellas tonight. Ooh, steaks on the grill, whiskey in the glass, and Cuban cigars permeating the air. Men's mental health break. Yeah. That's perfect. Jules is here. He's going to be replay gang number 1. Awesome. Thank you for checking in. Leon's here. He says, what up? I had a long read on modern transcendentalists. Very interesting. The only truth question I have is, would it still or maybe play a part of imperialism when set on a global stage? That's a great question. And there will be a show coming up on transcendentalists hidden from history and what modern transcendentalism is. I may even do it on a Wednesday so that you can come up on a panel, Leon. How about that? In the meantime, if any of you want to go to the website, moderntranscendentalists.com, and check it out, it's an interesting read, and it seems to be an interesting movement. Check it out. Snowman says, needed this stream. Chef Mike says, tomorrow is a holiday down here. What's tomorrow? Monday? I'm missing something. I'm sorry. All right. So have you ever stopped to think about the power of the words that you speak to yourself or the words that you hear about yourself from other people? So how much of an impact do affirmations, positive or negative, have on men? Positive affirmations are particularly important for men, especially in the context of personal growth, because the truth is most men face really unique pressures, most of which they're encouraged to leave unspoken, right? Like, don't complain about it, don't talk about it, you just do it, no choice, just do it, right? And that is particularly true in relationships with their partners, their children, family, friends, and themselves. Is don't complain, take the low road. I was watching an old show the other day. Well, I just happened to be like scrolling through some stuff and this old show came up and this woman was telling her son-in-law, um, it doesn't matter if you were totally right and she's totally wrong. You're the man. It's your job to apologize. And it almost broke my heart. I mean, I realize it's supposed to be kitschy and cute and funny, but I have sons. That's not funny. That is not funny. Oh my gosh. Especially when you know the statistics about men's mental health. That's not funny. So, all right. Leon says, hell yeah, he's in. Chef Mike's down for that stream. Yes. Yeah, that'll be November 10th. I'm scheduling way ahead of time now so I can get my research and scripts done. I'm enjoying this so much. And my live tribe is, I keep saying but the live tribe, because we're all in this together, is a huge part of that. Okay, so positive affirmations are more than just like feel good mantras. That kind of actually works for women, where you can just look in the mirror and say, I'm worthy, I'm enough, I'm good, I'm smart, these things. They're good reminders for women. But for men, it's more than just like a feel good mantra. It really can be the key to unlocking self-worth, resilience, and emotional balance. It just has to be done a little bit differently, both for how you speak to yourself and how people around you can speak into you. Okay, can kind of fill you up, speak life into you. So if you're listening because you have men in your life that you want to stop neglecting him and give positive affirmation. I don't know. Oh, wow. My eyes look really weird when I do that. This is what happens when you're blind. If you lift your glasses up, it becomes like a magnifying glass. Oof. Okay. Stop. That was a squirrel moment. All right. So the idea of positive affirmations maybe not being called that is not new. It really has philosophical background and tradition where it comes to men specifically, right? Because our backgrounds can be a little bit different on how we talk about ourselves, talk to ourselves, treat ourselves, those kind of things. So I want to talk about stoicism for a minute because stoicism tends to appeal to men. However, it can get a little unhealthy because we feel like when we hear stoicism, it's in the face of emotions or terrible things or bad feelings. We just keep a blank face on and keep it moving. And that's not necessarily what stoicism is. Yes, being stoic, having just, the blank affect and not letting people see you sweat is a huge part of that. Yes, it definitely is, right? But one of the key figures to stoicism was Marcus Aurelius, and he practiced self-reflection, right? And in self-reflection, he reinforced positive beliefs about himself. I am strong, I am capable, I can do this, I can keep it moving, so you have to have the self-reflection and positive affirmations to maintain stoicism because you're not relying on others to fill you up. So you have to fill yourself up. You have to give yourself strength. Okay, hope that makes sense. Indigo Flow says, shout out to Shad Helmstetter, PhD. Positive self-talk helped me. That's great. Somebody gave me his book like 10 years ago, but I didn't check it out until recently. I love that. I love that. So you're going to have a lot to offer in this conversation. You just were reading about that. Snowman. Okay, Leon says, Snowman, I need you to tell me I am handsome to make my dad better. I need some positive affirmations. Okay. All right, Leon, I got you. Okay. I'm not a snowman, but I got you. I'll help Snowman with that. Okay. So another one is Confucianism. So I'm sure you guys have heard, Confucius says, right? And it was always this very deep little nugget of insight. But in Confucianism, they emphasize, I have my notes, by the way, for anybody curious, any new people curious about why I keep looking down, I have to keep my notes or I have squirrel moments all over the place. I got to stay on track. So when you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. Okay. So Confucianism emphasized the importance of moral development and the cultivation of virtuous character. So self cultivation through reflection, proper behavior, and respectful relationships is central, right? So growth comes from daily rituals. Like every single day, I'm going to do these things. And since self cultivation and self reflection is part of this, there we get positive affirmations, right? I am strong. I am capable. I can do this. I can, these kind of things. And by the way, at the end of today's show, stick around because I'm going to give people examples of positive personal affirmations so that you can kind of listen to what are the ones that, you have a reaction to, they kind of resonate with you. You like them. These are things you need to tell yourself every day. And then for the people listening who have men in your life that you don't want to neglect and you want to give them positive affirmations, I have a bunch of examples for those too. And the men listening, even on the replay gang, tell me if those are good ones that you would want to hear from people in your life. See, squirrel moment, told you. All right, another one is Buddhism. Would you guys hear me talk about that sometimes? In Buddhism, the mind is seen as the most powerful force in shaping reality. So what you say to yourself becomes how you see yourself, right? Like that becomes reality. So through speech and action, we have karmic consequences. That's where karma came from. Well, some of it. Karma actually was way before that in Hinduism, but in Buddhism, it says, our thoughts, our speech, and our actions create karmic consequences. Either we get good karma or we're creating bad karma, right? So that can lead to either suffering or liberation. And in Buddhism and in Hinduism, which I'm going to talk about in a second, it's both for self and it's both internal and external. Okay. So what we put into ourselves is actually called dharma, not karma, but what we put in, if we put good into ourselves, we can give ourselves good. If we put good into the universe can give us good, right? So it sounds transactional, but it's actually more creating a balance for that. Okay. Hope everybody's still with me. So in Buddhism, there are a lot of mantras, right? So they have practices called metta, not like Facebook, it's METTA, which is loving and kindness meditations. It's about, focusing on being loving and kind. And they repeat phrases wishing well-being and peace for themselves and for others. Okay, so these are good positive affirmations. Vedanta, which is in Hinduism. So Vedanta it's a school of thought inside the Hindu philosophy. By the way, Hindu is a philosophy, not a religion. There's a spiritual part to it, but just so that we know. Anyway, in Vedanta, they teach that the true self, which they call Atman, is also, your ascended self, your inner soul, your true self, however you want to look at that. Your Atman is connected to the universal consciousness, which is Brahman, which is where we get the caste system, the Brahmins. Sorry. Brahman is like the head of the Trinity of gods. This belief emphasizes the importance of self-realization and understanding your divine nature. So the practice of Jnana Yoga, which is the path of knowledge, right, in Vedanta, involves affirming one's true nature beyond the body and the mind, affirming the divine nature of who you are, like the real you. Not what you put out in society, not what people think of you, not any of those things, not your success or how much money you have or the it's all about affirming the real you, the real Atman. That's you. Okay. In Sufism, which is Islamic mysticism, Sufism focuses on the inward search for God, not the looking in the heavens and reading books and Bibles and talking to pastors and preachers and priests and those, but it's about going on a journey inward to search for God and to purify the soul. So Sufis emphasize takir, which is the remembrance of God. So in takir, through the repetition of divine names and phrases, your heart and mind stay pure, stay purified and connected to God and finding of the God, right? So mantras, positive affirmations, those kind of things help you to stay connected. Um, how many more do I want to do? I have so many. Let's just do one. Let's do one more. Taoism. And Taoism, which is another ancient Chinese philosophy like Confucianism, but in Taoism, they focus on living in harmony with Tao, which is the way, which is where you get the Mandalorian, by the way. This is living in the way, right? And there are things called Wu Wei, which is being of the way, right? The way is the underlying principle of the universe. This is another way of saying it is what it is. It's the way, right? Taoism promotes balance, simplicity, and aligning yourself with the natural flow of life. It's just, it is what it is. We just roll with it, right? Um, Affirmations in Taoism would be centered around flow and acceptance. I accept the world. It is what it is. I am able to flow. I am flow. I trust the process. Those kind of things as positive affirmations. Okay. In psychology, not a philosophy, but in psychology, there is positive psychology, which encourages practices like gratitude journaling, visualization, and affirmations to enhance your well-being, right? Like, I'm grateful for the good things in my life. I focus on my strengths. I align with positive things, whatever it is. And in cognitive behavioral therapy and cognitive behavioral psychology, which is used with men a lot of the times because it kind of aligns with stoicism, it's about challenging negative thoughts because it's like a triangle. Thoughts, behaviors, and emotions are like this triangle and it moves. So thoughts affect your emotions and your behavior. Your emotions affect your behavior and your thoughts. And it's not necessarily in that order. It can go in around different ways. Your behavior affects your thoughts and emotions. Like it goes all the way around back and forth. And if there's something dysfunctional or negative going on, you break the pattern. And so in cognitive behavioral therapy, breaking the thought pattern is usually where we start. Okay. So having those positive affirmations, speaking well to yourself, having other people speak well to you, not Pollyanna stuff like you are the most gorgeous man on the whole entire planet. Not like that. Right. But actually seeing you and speaking those positive things back to you that people can see. Sometimes our thoughts, our shadow, however you want to say it, gets a little wonky. We get in our heads and we need somebody to speak it back to us. Hi, Spain Man. Thank you for being here. He says, greetings, checking in a little late to the live tribe. Yay, the live tribe. Okay. You're not late. You're here when you're here. It starts when you get here. Okay. So, and plus we're not that far in. You can catch up real fast. Across different cultures, from Buddhist chanting to even Native American prayers, the ideas of using words to shape reality is foundational across all ancient cultures. So whatever words you're speaking to yourself will affect you. This is foundational to being a human. But how this is evolved in contemporary society, psychology, all those kind of things, is that it's degraded to speak positively about yourself. It's like not being humble. So we can't even be realistic anymore because you have to be humble and you can't say these things, right? Hi, Catting Up with the Joneses. Thanks for being here. He says, hello, Maggie, in the chat. So For many men, phrases like "I am strong" or "I am capable" or "I am worthy" resonate because they will have times in this world, the society where they have to produce, right? Like men's worth is based on what they can produce, right? How much money can you produce? How many things can you make? How much can you give to other people? How many kids do you have? Like it's all about work, 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 right? So, and then you're told to shut up about it. So, saying to yourself, I am strong, I am capable, I am worthy can resonate because it's a good reminder that when you're discouraged from expressing your emotions, that you can kind of fill your own cup. Hi, Big Mo. Thanks for being here. He says, I am inevitable. You know what that reminds me of is, if you guys see the beginning of my intros, it says Earth wants me here. Where else are you going to be? The Earth literally there was okay, energy abhors a vacuum, okay? And because energy abhors a vacuum, it coalesces energy around something to be manifested when there's an empty spot, okay? That's how nature works. It abhors a vacuum, and so it fills it with something, okay? So, at the point in time that you came into being and there was a vacuum, there was a space that was just for you, energy coalesced around that, and there you are. You're incarnated, you're born, you're here on a planet that throughout all of time wants you to be here, right? Creates food for you, shelter for you, water for you, does all these things. And you can't, we as humans can't live as somewhere else. So we are inevitable. The earth wants us here, regardless of what other people want. The earth wants us here. Okay. So not all affirmations directed towards men are positive. Right? Historically, phrases like "don't be a girl" or "man up" have been embedded in kind of this hyper masculine culture, which is subtly degrading and diminishes emotional expression because it reinforces that expressing yourself emotionally is weak. First of all, that it's solely feminine, only women can do that because that's why, "Okay, Sally, don't be a sissy and, y you know, um, don't be a pussy." Those kind of things are said is it reinforces that it's solely feminine and only women can do it, and you don't have emotions, be a man. And 2, it reinforces that you're not allowed to ever be vulnerable, that it's not manly to be vulnerable, but it's human, right? The emotions and vulnerability and weakness even applies to everybody. It is a human thing, but we reinforce it through these particular things that we say that are kind of degrading to save ourselves. Listen, there are times, and I have told men this many a time. There are 2 things that happen that save an abuser, okay? One is by saying that you have to offer everyone forgiveness, even if they don't apologize, but especially if they apologize. Doesn't matter if they change their behavior. You offer them forgiveness. See, that just allows them to do whatever they want. So, that is promoted and it only protects the abuser. It does nothing for the abused, right? And the second thing is for you to control your emotions, right? Because if somebody's hurting you, they don't want it thrown in their face that they're hurting you. They don't want to feel bad. So keep your emotions to yourself. Don't cry about it. Don't get mad about it. Don't be upset about it. Don't let it affect you because that is just keeps putting it in my face that I hurt you. So those 2 things in the society only serve to protect people who are abusive. So Let's stop doing it. I don't like it. Hey, Adrian, thank you for being here. Leon says, giving back to society more than you're given. Lord, it gets annoying being a man, even as those who try to redefine manhood still cannot let those things go or behind. Yes. Yes. Totally. Spain Man says, and several times over, maybe. Mm. And Adric says, there's no crying in baseball, right? I have to clear my throat. Hold on. Goodness. Okay. So we want to kind of stop the tropey denigrating. Hi, puppy dog. The tropey denigrating affirmations that we say to men, because it only serves us to not have to deal with someone else's emotions. Totally unfair. Okay. We don't want to further entrap men in bad narratives, unhealthy narratives, and reinforce the idea that to have emotions is weak. Spain Man says, Earth wants us here several times over. I meant, yes. Yes. We have sunshine, we have food, we have all kinds of things. Other people just like to be hoarders. Okay. All right. So the problem is bigger than just harmful phrases, though. Like societal pressures prevent men from expressing vulnerability, making it hard to seek support. So at the very beginning, you heard me say that men commit suicide 3 times more than women. And most of the time, that's due to unresolved mental health issues and relationship problems, right? But men are kind of taught, don't seek help for your mental health stuff, right? Like if you go to other men, you might be told, man up, don't be a pussy and these kind of things. If you go to a therapist, that's seen as weak and like that you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps, which is impossible, by the way. That used to be a phrase to denote when something was impossible. It's like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. It's impossible. Okay. So men have this societal pressure to not seek help and to not be vulnerable. And so they're just eating their own pain all the time. So a study by the American Psychological Association says nearly 30% of men have experienced periods of depression, yet only 1 in 4 seek professional help. The lack of mental health access leads to dysfunctional behaviors such as aggression, escapism, lying, substance abuse, cheating, withdrawal, and isolation. All of those things can happen when you're eating all of this negativity, all of this pain, all of these things. You're eating them, and it becomes poisonous to your system. Right? So then it comes out in these really dysfunctional ways, right? Which is just a signal. It's a signal. Something is not working right here. But why is it hard to embrace positive affirmations? Well, because the world expects men to always have it together. Right? Men will even tell themselves, get it together, get it together. They'll tell each other, get it together. Because that's the expectation. Get it together. Always have it together. Right? But despite the challenges, there are solutions, just like there's solutions to everything, right? So positive affirmations can be a tool. You don't have to go to therapy to get positive affirmations. And I'm not saying don't go to therapy. I'm saying do what you think is the right thing to do in your life. I say this all the time. I say this to patients and to anybody. You are the expert of your life. You know what needs to happen in your life better than anybody else. So you can use positive affirmations. And again, I'm also going to go over positive affirmations for people who have men in their life who want to speak positively into somebody, speak life into somebody, support a man that way. All right. So we kind of have to put these positive affirmations with some effective strategies, though, because If society's been telling you these things, you were raised with these things, then going and saying this to yourself is just going to feel dumb. It is, you know, and we can say keep doing it until it doesn't feel dumb. And yes, that you can do that, but there's a better way. So let's talk about it. Um, Adrian says eating it sounds like a crap sandwich. It is. It is. Mhm. Mhm. We as humans swallow a lot of crap, right? Sometimes we're so mad at people, and we have so much to say, but we keep swallowing the words, and it's like we're swallowing poison hoping they die. You know, or people poison us and we just encapsulate it in our body. And then we have all these little capsules of trauma and pain and disgust and depression and terrible things that have been done to us and said to us. And it's like, if you can imagine a cup that, like this, okay? You have a glass. This is you, by the way, and it's got ping pong balls in it, which is just you have compartmentalized all your pain, right? You've encapsulated all the bull caca, and it's in here. And then you try to pour in these positive things. It's just going to overflow, right? Because the ping pong balls are still in there. So even as we're trying to pour in positive things, you got to take out the ping pong balls. You got to deal with them. You got to open them up. You got to get it out of there, right? Then you're going to feel empty for a little bit. When you do that, it's part of the process. Then you pour in all the positive things, right? The stuff you want. So you can be authentically you. Pour in all the stuff you want. Get rid of all the bull crap sandwiches that people gave you that you've encapsulated because you don't want to hurt somebody else. People hurt you, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. So you swallow it. You eat it. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Adrian wants to know if there's a tasty way to prepare crap. Nope. And empaths eat crap sandwiches all the time. And then we just encapsulate them and stick them somewhere in the back of our mind, in the further recesses, somewhere down in our bodies, but we can feel it, right? Like I get headaches all the time, or my neck hurts all the time because I'm stressed out. My heart hurts all the time. I keep getting stomach aches. I have sore muscles. That is called somatic. That means you're holding your stress and all the crap sandwiches in your body, right? There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score that talks all about somatic trauma. Okay. But let's talk strategy, right? Start small. Focus on short, impactful affirmations like I am enough, or I am good, or I deserve support, or I deserve rest. I deserve happiness. I deserve love. All of this keep it short, something easy to remember. You don't have to go up with a whole mantra of things, right? This is just an affirmation. Repetition is key, right? So it needs to be something you can remember, some things you can remember, right? Integrating affirmations into a morning routine is great and sets the tone for the day, right? Like, I can make it happen. I can get this done. I am strong. Those kind of things. Leon says, I think what men tend to do is give advice to keep other brothers marching forward, to remain resilient. And I believe it's different from positive affirmation. It is, because what you are handing men is a shield. Okay, which is important, right? It's important for men to have a shield because the world stabs at you all the time. So you're handing them the shield so they can stay in battle. What I'm saying is that there are times when it's time to put down the sword and the shield and go into that other tent where it's time to get bandaged up. That's more what I'm talking about. So there are times, yes, men go to other men for advice and you're handed a shield. And that's important. But there are times too when we need to stop and pause for a second and be like, ooh, this is requiring a bandage, not necessarily a shield. Okay, Indigo says, I didn't believe some of those things, so I had to tell them to myself until I believed them. Yeah, and I'm sure it felt very awkward at first. Affirmations always felt really awkward, but For those of you listening who have men in your life who want to speak positive affirmations to the men in your life, and this includes men who want to speak positive affirmations to men, um, it works better when you start hearing it. When you start hearing it, you can start believing it, and then it's not as awkward to tell yourself that. But starting fresh, hearing nothing but negative crap, and then trying to tell yourself, it's gonna feel weird as heck at first. So we have start small. Repetition is key. Write them down. You know, journaling is important. I always say this. There's a reason why Indiana Jones had a journal. And we say journaling, 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 journaling. It's so, so, so important. Write stuff down. And did you know when you write stuff down, you're reading and writing at the same time because you're reading what you're writing as you're thinking about it? And writing things down is the only time you're fully integrated on your left and right side of your brain. So it's important to write things down. All right. So some other things. If you do want to go to therapy, if you as a man want to go to therapy, right? And I'm a therapist, so I'm not denigrating that. I'm just saying you don't have to. Okay. Finding the right therapist is crucial. Men should look for professionals who emphasize respect, emotional safety, an understanding of gender specific issues, and not just cultural competency, but cultural knowledge and sensitivity. So culture may play into it too. And I think men need to have all of those barriers out of the way for therapy to be successful. Okay. Alternative forms of self-help are just as valuable. Okay. Again, you're the expert of your life. You decide what you need. Okay. Some things that you can do. Adrian says Indiana Jones had a journal so he could keep track of what he was stealing. Maybe. But Batman probably has a journal. Ultron has a journal. It's the whole internet. Okay. So some alternative things you can do, men's support groups, which are in a variety of forms. I say a lot that there are, so like on YouTube, as an example, there are pockets of men around different topics. And they talk about different topics and they can nerd out together or they talk politics or different things like that. Those are support groups. So it doesn't have to be like a get in the car and go down to the community center to have support group. It can be that if it needs to be in person. Doesn't have to be. Anything that offers a sense of community where you can be authentic, it reduces feelings of isolation, helps you to express your vulnerability and that it's seen as a strength, being able to talk openly, all of that, that's a support group. So that's important. Mindfulness, trying to stay in the moment. Don't regret the past too much, which there's a show coming up on that. Don't regret the past too much. It's done. It's done. It is what it is. It's over. And don't worry about the future too much, be planful, have a direction, have a GPS route, taking you in a certain direction, and then stay in the moment towards that. Okay. Exercise, sports, and physical fitness are also big, big, big for men's mental health. So getting exercise, getting outside, getting some fresh air and some sunshine, moving your body, playing competitive sports, all of those things are excellent for men's mental health. So if that's something that interests you, you can do that. I talked about journaling, creative expression, art, music, writing. All of those things are really good. Outdoor activities, getting out in nature, self-help books, self-help podcasts. Hi. But another one that you guys might not know about, well, I'm going to talk about it last. Diet and nutrition is important. It will affect your mental health. It can create anxiety and depression if you're not eating well. Acupuncture, Reiki, massage therapy, all those things are really good for men's mental health. And I'm going to go back to diet, but one you guys might not know about, because I love this one. I will never do it, but I'm going to tell you guys in case you want to do it. It's the Wim Hof method. and that is breath work and cold exposure. You guys have seen the ice baths, right? Have you guys not seen the ice baths? So the Wim Hof it combines deep rhythmic breathing exercises with gradual cold exposure, such as cold showers or ice baths. Okay. So, you know, the old adage, like if you're as a guy, you're too turned on or whatever, you got to go take a cold shower to calm down. Taking the cold shower actually calms down anxiety, it calms down depression, it calms down feelings of overwhelm. Isn't that interesting? And men respond to this really, really well, the Wim Hof method. So, even getting like if you have anxiety attacks, getting a cold drink of ice water, eating a popsicle, um, if it's cold outside, go outside, open the freezer door and just breathe some cold air for a little bit. Sorry, I have a little fuzzy. A little fuzzy from my sweater in the corner of my mouth. It was driving me nuts. Anyway, so hopefully you guys have heard of ice baths. If you haven't, it's you fill up a tub with cold water and a bunch of ice. You dump a bunch of ice in it and you get down in it, and it's very shocking at first. It's kind of a shock to the system, but it's also kind of a reset. And you breathe and you breathe and you breathe and you work up to where you can stay into it. I think it's 2 minutes, could be 3 minutes, but I don't want to encourage you guys to do more than you're supposed to. But the Wim Hof is super good for men's mental health. And that's something just, a few minutes, a few times a week, even if it's just run some cold water in the shower, it really does reset psychological stress. So, the studies say men who engage in this practice report a stronger connection between their body and mind. Isn't that interesting? So cool. Um, Hi, Eric. Thank you for being here. He says, don't stay in the past too much. That's a hard one for me. Yeah. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to have a squirrel moment, but I'm saying it out loud. You get warned. I view life like driving a car. This channel's for adults, although we do have kids in here on occasion. So they may not know how to drive a car. So this is for the adults. In driving a car, okay? Life is like driving a car. You have this huge windshield that shows you however far you're seeing in front of you, right? And you don't want to look way off in the horizon because you're not seeing where you're going. You need to pay attention to the cars around you, what's going on, the actions, right? Right in front of you. And it's a big windshield, right? Because this is our focus, is what's right in front of us. That's where we're supposed to focus, right? Now we need to know where we're going. So back in the day, you would have the map or the atlas, Today we've put the coordinates in the GPS, right? But it pulls up this little map, but we can't see what's actually going on there. We don't even see an actual picture of the place that we're going to. It's just this little cartoonish almost map. It's an illustration. We can't see it. Well, I can't be in my car driving and just be staring at this cartoon map. I don't know exactly what it is that's going to happen when I get there. So I can't really pay attention. The business could be closed. The building could be demolished. There could be a riot going on. The building could be on fire. The business could have moved. Like all these things could happen. So I'm not going to worry too much about it because I just know where I want to go. I'll deal with it when I get there, right? Plus, I'm going to get in a wreck if I just stare at my phone at the GPS. Now, we have a little rear view mirror, right? It's a little rear view mirror. I mean, compared to the windshield. This is everything we're supposed to be looking at, is what's happening right in front of us. So we have a plan for where we're going, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. If I don't have a plan for where I'm going, I'm just wandering around looking for a place to be. I don't know. Anyway, we have a rear view mirror. It's little, right? Because you need to know where you came from. And you kind of need to, as you're leaving stuff in the past, you kind of need to see what's happening a little bit, but you can't see too far behind yourself. And if you sit and stare in the rear view mirror, again, what's going to happen? You're going to wreck yourself, right? You also can't be too much in the moment Because if I'm just staring at my radio or my lap or what's happening right in this very second without paying attention to what's going on around me, again, I'm going to get in a wreck. Okay. So this is how life is. Focus on what's going on around you. Have a direction for where you want to go, and then don't fret. It'll be there when you get there. Have a plan. Okay. Know where you came from, but you can't stare at it. You got to let it go because you're going somewhere. You got to pay attention to where you're going, and you got to see what's going on around you. This is life, right? Every moment of what's going on around me, this is life. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Adrian says, don't work on cars. It actually causes mental health and anxiety issues. Although you may be able to work out some of your frustration working on cars, right? Because that is kind of an exercise. Leon says, in our space, he's talking about a specific manosphere space. He says, in our space, we've talked about the journal, diary, or even drawing and why the majority of men stopped doing it. Mothers, aunties, or just random girls tend to get in your business. And so we all started hiding it. And I'm thinking too, or you're maybe degraded about it. Oh, that's so dumb. That looks stupid. That's not good enough. That's blah, 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 blah. So do it for you. You don't need to do it for others unless you want to. So let's talk about diet nutrition just real quick. Pay attention to what you eat, because just like words go in, food go in, it is all as nutrient for our souls, right? So what you eat affects your mood, your energy level. It can affect your mental health, your emotional well-being. So you want to focus on food. Dang it. Do you guys see when it does this? I don't know if you guys see it, but it just pops up when I start talking with my hands. Anyway, focus on foods that promote brain health, like omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and vitamins, those kind of things. I'm not saying you have to eat perfect all the time. I don't. I reward myself with deliciousness sometimes. I love ice cream. I'm very into raspberry sherbet recently, or like the 3-berry sherbet. I keep craving it and I keep forgetting to get it at the store. So I'm very into it right now. And it's full of sugar. And I drink chai tea lattes, right? But I do make sure to get my vitamins. Of course, I'm not a man and I'm talking about men, but I'm not saying you have to eat perfect all the time. I'm just saying make sure that you're getting your daily vitamins and nutrients that promote brain health. Proper nutrition supports mental clarity, gets rid of that brain fog, energy balance, emotional stability. Men tend to experience things like fatigue, anxiety, mood swings, all of those things, which could be diet related. Again, what you put in. Okay. So improving your diet can have significant health benefits. So I talk about cortisol sometimes. So I want to talk about cortisol just real quick. And I know this is about affirmations, but if we're going to talk men's mental health, I got to talk about it. Okay. Cortisol is a steroid hormone that's produced by the adrenal glands. Okay. So it is the stress hormone. So the more stressed you are, the higher cortisol that you have in your system. It's attached to the fight or flight system, right? Now, when you have chronic stress over time, you will have some cortisol toxicity in your body because it's not intended to be in your body all the time. Okay. It's important. Cortisol is important for the stress response, right? It does a lot of things, but it affects your metabolism, your immune function, and regulation of most of your body processes. So it's the stress hormone. I'm sorry. So let me get down to what I'm saying. I already talked about fight or flight, but it increases your glucose in your system, your sugar in your bloodstream. Okay. That's for fight or flight so that you have immediate energy. It also shuts down non-essential functions like digestion and reproduction. Okay. So having too much cortisol can lead to diabetes, heart attack, digestive problems, reproductive issues, all kinds of things, even ED, okay, from having too much cortisol in your system. Okay. So if you regulate cortisol, you can regulate your blood sugar, reduce inflammation, regulate your blood pressure, better circadian rhythm. Too much cortisol leads to insomnia, by the way. Um, Chronic stress. Here's a list of the things that chronic stress, cortisol, does to you. Weakened immune system, increased abdominal fat. So that's the dad bellies, the dad poochies. Memory issues, cognitive issues, brain fog, sleep disturbances, high blood pressure, contributes to diabetes. All of this just from chronic stress. And then we expect men to just suck it up and keep it moving, right? We don't want to do that. Yes, I drank tea, because chai means tea, y'all. So I drink tea lattes. There's 2 T's in there. I don't know if there's 2 T's in there, I don't know. Spain Man says, "I used to get annoyed that my mom would always dwell in the past. Now I find myself doing it," which goes back to what's said about the shadow. Yeah, yeah. Chef says, "Cooking is great mental health. There's a certain calming effect in butchering." Yeah, I mean, you're being creative, right? This physical exercise being in the kitchen, right? Especially some of those longer recipes, you're bending, you're stooping, you're picking, you're pushing, you're stirring, you're right. Um, Hi, Eric Dedman. Thank you for being here. Um, he says, for me, it's more of dwelling on mistakes or decisions that I made that didn't work out in my favor, more like ruminating. Yeah, it happened. It's done. It's done. There's no amount of thinking about it that's going to change it. So you're eating poison, hoping that the past changes. Just gotta let it go. It happened. It is what it is. So I want to talk a little bit about speaking positive affirmations to people, especially if, I'll say the word that some people hate, partner, but, from a wife, a girlfriend, a partner, spouse, whatever perspective, speaking genuine affirmations is so, so, so important because you should know the man in your life better than anyone else should. If the man in your life is not speaking to you, is not showing you vulnerability, is not showing their mental health stuff, then make yourself safer to do so. That's on you. You need to be a safe place to do that, right? So we want to provide to the men in our life this space, okay? So I'm going to talk about what it does for men when we do this for the men in our life. And I will give you the studies that it came from in case you think I'm just being kind of Pollyannish. Sometimes people want the receipts, right? I want to give you that. But also, if you want to go look forward more into what I'm talking about, you have the citation. Okay. So, number one, it boosts emotional resilience. So, the ability to be resilient out in the world where emotional things happen. So, emotional resilience acts as a buffer against daily stress, right? So, men who feel supported and valued in their relationships are better equipped to handle challenges, both emotionally and mentally. Okay. So, reinforcing a man's sense of self-worth and helping him stay emotionally grounded during stressful times is a huge benefit to him. Okay. Supportive relationships are a key factor in fostering resilience. Men who feel emotionally supported are more likely to cope effectively with daily stress and are less likely to develop anxiety or depression. Now, remember what I talked about in the very beginning. Men are 3 times more likely than women to commit suicide, and it's 2 factors. 1, it could be unaddressed mental health issues, and 2, it could be relationship issues. So look how just this very first one that I'm talking about, just speaking positive affirmations, being positively affirming, look what that does. Look what that does. So this was a study published in Health Psychology. I didn't write down the year. I'm sorry. So it did talk about supportive relationships with affirming communication had 20% less stress and a greater sense of well-being. That's a lot. right? So, number two, improve self esteem and confidence. Positive affirmation from a partner can significantly improve a man's self esteem and confidence, which are closely tied to mental health. Okay, how you think about yourself, your self esteem, and your confidence makes sense. By being consistently reassured of his worth, competence, and attractiveness by someone who deeply cares about him can reinforce that positive self image, right? So, this is a protective factor. So, the other one was resilience. This is a protective factor against mental health issues like depression and anxiety. It reinforces a belief in themselves, right, for the men and their abilities, helping them navigate life with greater confidence, knowing that he has the emotional support of his partner, which leads to actually better job satisfaction. Isn't that interesting? And more fulfilling relationships. So, knowing that your woman, your lady, your person at home um, really digs you and says it, right, makes you have better job satisfaction. Isn't that interesting? So, that is a survey from the American Psychological Association. All right. So, next one is it reduces feelings of isolation and promotes emotional expression. So, since society pressures men to toughen up and don't show any emotional vulnerability, right? Like be a robot, don't be a human being. You get emotional suppression, which is what we talked about. So that increases the risk of depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. So positive affirmation combats that alone feeling. When I say isolation, that's what that is, feeling alone. So it creates a safe emotional space, right? Like it's your safe space. I'm sorry if people are triggered by me saying that. Everybody needs a safe space. Don't you want a safe space? Shouldn't your home be your safe space? Shouldn't you feel safe at home? I don't know. I don't know why people get triggered, but this is where men feel they can express their true feelings without being judged, right? So if we want to break that stigma, for men, we have to be part of creating a space where it is safe to express yourself without being degraded. When men feel safe being vulnerable, they're more likely to share their struggles, to seek help, and address mental health challenges early on before they get out of hand. Affirmations make men feel emotionally connected and supported by their person, which enhances relationship satisfaction. Don't you want the men in your life to be happy with you? You don't want them to feel emotionally isolated, that they have no port in the storm. You should be the port in the storm. You really need to be the port in the storm. And it shouldn't be transactional. If you love this person, they're your person, you're the port in the storm. You hope that they are when you need it as well, but that's it. So this was a 2018 study in the Journal of Men's Health. Okay. Adrian says, no attacking robots, please and thank you. There's a time and a place for the robot. I get it. I mean, I am going to talk about Stoicism next month, by the way. We're going to get into it a bit deeper because it does resonate with men so much. Spainman says, nothing wrong with safe space. I think people got gaslit into running away from the word. Yeah. It was like, it was used to then degrade people. Oh, you need a safe space. Well, we all need a safe space. Shut up. Right? Like everybody needs a port in the storm. All right. So the next one is so some more relationship satisfaction and well-being, right? So when you improve the overall health of your relationship, when men feel appreciated, respected, and loved, they're more likely to engage positively with their person. Healthy relationships are a significant protective factor for mental health. Affirmations act as a form of emotional nourishment, right? So this is what I mean when I say we're pouring into the men in our life. We're giving to the men in our life. We're emotionally feeding them, right? Like don't let them starve. Quit neglecting them. So you want to keep the bond between you strong and reduce the chances of conflict and relationship dissatisfaction. So if your relationship is not healthy right now, you got to figure out the ways to make it healthy, because just holding on to a dysfunctional or unhealthy relationship doesn't do anybody any good. You're just playing. Okay. So when you have a healthy relationship, you actually get higher life satisfaction, you get better physical health, and increased longevity. So relationship satisfaction does so much for your physical health, your mental health, and you live longer. And since you're happy to live longer. um, this was published in Psychological Science. Okay. Talked about depression, anxiety, and all those things in supportive relationships. Spain Man says it got attached to being a soft liberal. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Okay. So, also for men, positive affirmation encourages healthy coping mechanisms. Okay. When men are positively affirmed by themselves or by others, they're more likely to develop healthy coping mechanisms for managing stress, such as open communication, right? We're less likely to be deceitful and hide things, when you are positively affirmed, you feel safe, you have a healthy relationship, all that. Seek help when needed, engage in constructive problem solving. Men who feel unsupported or unloved turn to maladaptive coping strategies like substance abuse, aggression, cheating, sex addiction, emotional withdrawal, blah, 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 right? So nobody wants that for themselves. Men who feel emotionally supported by their partners are also more likely to seek professional help for severe mental health issues. They're less influenced by the stigma surrounding therapy and more likely to recognize when they need help or additional support. Interesting. That was from a study from the National Institute of Mental Health about men. So, positive affirmations from a spouse or a partner are essential for men's health, not just mental health. We already talked about that. Health. Positive affirmations from a spouse or a partner are essential for men's health. If you are neglecting or negatively affirming, you're killing them. Stop it. If you love him, you want him to live, right? You want him around. You want him happy, you know? So these affirmations boost emotional resilience, improve self-esteem, promote emotional expression, reduce feelings of isolation, promote relationship and life satisfaction, and increase physical health. So important. In supportive relationships, men are more likely to develop healthier coping mechanisms, experience lower levels of stress and anxiety, and report higher life satisfaction, contributes to a stronger sense of self, and enhances the quality of men's relationships all the way around. Now, do we see why it's so important? And I say, stop neglecting him. Leon says, Maggie, a while back, a few young men in a Discord told me I was stoic. I said, thank you. But literally, I had a grandfather and father, and you guys didn't. I feel the same thing as y'all, but I had them. Wow. You had that support to teach you emotion regulation. It's important. It's important. Okay, so I want to give you guys some examples of positive affirmations that you can use for yourself. I'm just going to go through. I have a whole bunch. I'm just going to go through the list. I'm just going to say them. If any of them resonate, or you're like, man, I need to tell myself that more often, you are more than welcome to put it in the chat. What a positive affirmation that you need to hear more often from yourself, you're going to start saying to yourself. And then I'm going to go through some for the partners, right? Or for the people who want to speak life into men, which again can be men speaking life into their men, right? Your uncle, your father, your grandfather, your friends, your sons, guys. We want to keep this going, this positive health. Okay, so I'm going to go through these real quick. So these are, let me get a drink before I do them. I don't want to cough while I'm doing it. Okay. Examples of things to say to yourself. I am capable of achieving my goals. I am capable of overcoming challenges. I deserve love. I deserve respect. I deserve happiness. I am proud of the man I am becoming. I am strong physically and emotionally. I accept and embrace my vulnerability as a source of strength. I trust my ability to make decisions that align with my values. I am resilient and can handle any obstacle that comes my way. I am worthy of success in my personal and professional life. I am enough just as I am. I choose to grow from my mistakes rather than let them define me. I am a loving and supportive husband, father, friend. I am in control of my emotions and can express them. I honor my body by taking care of it through exercise, rest, and nutrition. Right? Like I deserve rest. I deserve to take time for myself. I am focused, disciplined, and determined. I have the power to create change in my life. I am grateful for the progress I've made. I attract positivity and success. I am worthy of deep and meaningful relationships. I forgive myself for past mistakes. I am committed to learning and growing. All right, I hope some of those were beneficial. I hope some of those you can take. Please feel free to tweak them however you want to. Hopefully, these are things you can start saying to yourself and about yourself, especially when you're speaking to others, right? You're listening to yourself when you say these things, right? So if you try to act humble and denigrate yourself, put yourself down, make fun of yourself, those kind of things, you're listening as you say these things. And who are you going to believe the most? Yourself. So, be honest. Hi, David. Thank you for being here. All right. So, for those of us who want to speak life into men, who want to positively affirm men, here are some things that you can say. Okay. You are strong, capable, and I believe in your ability to succeed. Boy, that's a biggie. Just to say to a man, you're strong, you're capable. I believe you got this. Believe in your ability. That's a great one right off the top. All right. I appreciate everything you do for us. Mm. You don't want to feel like what people do for you goes unnoticed, right? I appreciate everything you do for us. You handle challenges with such grace or determination. I'm proud of the man you are. Your hard work and dedication inspires me. You are an amazing husband or partner, and I'm lucky to have you. Your vulnerability shows such strength, and I admire that about you. You are deserving of all the good things coming your way. Your kindness and generosity make a real difference for people. I trust your judgment and I value your wisdom. I love how dedicated you are to your goals and to your personal growth. You make me feel safe, supported, and valued. Thank you. You are enough just as you are, and you don't need to prove anything. I admire how you stay calm under pressure and handle tough situations. Your presence makes everything better, and I enjoy every moment with you. You are not alone. I'm here for you whenever you need me. I respect how you take care of your health and well-being. You are incredibly talented, and your contributions matter. I love the way you lead with both strength and compassion. I'm proud to stand by your side, and I believe in your future. All right. So, hopefully, for those listening who want to speak life into men, then you have these examples. You can even ask the men in your life, hey, do any of these resonate with you? What do you need me to say more often? A lot of times it's thank you. I appreciate you. Your efforts don't go unnoticed, because men go unnoticed a lot because it's just the expectation. So those are usually the biggies. Okay. So positive affirmations aren't just words, and it isn't silliness, right? It is these are tools, and we all need tools, but we need to change self-perception for men. A lot of times as men, you've been denigrated or put down or told certain things from society, and you need to change your perception of self to something that is more authentic. And it also builds emotional resilience and good health for the men. It's a pathway to better mental health, stronger relationships, deeper self-understanding, and authenticity and balance. And I'm always promoting authenticity and balance. Okay, so take a moment today, speak kindly to yourself, speak kindly to the men in your life, and especially the little boys, right? Because boys, not even little boys, all boys, okay? All boys, even teenage boys and young men, right? Because they're going to have to grow up and get past whatever's been spoken into them, okay? So speak kindly to them, give them positive, affirming things. You might be surprised how transformative it can be to do that, right? Because the words that we speak to ourselves can either break or build a person. So choose wisely. Choose wisely. Right. I want to thank everybody for being here today, the live tribe. You guys have been amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. You make these live shows so much fun. It's so fun to be in conversation with people in the moment. Hi, Cynical Optimist. Thanks for being here. So I want to talk about shows that are coming up. Okay. I did tell you I'm going to talk about Stoicism and Transcendentalism next month, but what's coming up is this coming Wednesday. It's going to be about the regret of wasting time. And for once, I'm going to tell you guys some stuff about me. Okay. Then, so next Sunday is going to be Spiritual Awakenings. Are they legit or trendy? Because, man, Cynical is going to catch the replay. Thank you so much. And then that following Wednesday is Breaking Free from Toxic Beliefs and Patterns, which is so important. And that will round out October. And then we're going to start into November, getting into the cold, cold weather. All right. Spainman says, thank you. This show is becoming the highlight of my Sunday afternoon. I love that. Thank you. And thank you for being here. And thank you to the live tribe. Thank you to the replay gang. I read all your comments, so put comments in there. I appreciate you so, so, so much. Adric's ready, right? He's ready. I'm going to show you a picture of my dog. All right. Bye, guys. Please like the video if you haven't already. It really helps the algorithm to know what kind of things you like. Share where you think it's appropriate, especially to someone who you think needs to hear it. And don't forget to check out some of the wilder Pivot Point Wednesday shows. And last, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you want to break down complex concepts that make the esoteric not so teric, helping you on your journey to become your most authentic self. By subscribing, you'll join a community that thrives on curiosity and growth, and you'll never miss out on insights and some wild discussions. Let's uncover the universe together. Bye.